In today's episode of the Platform Presents podcast, I have an interesting guest here with me today. I'm with Alex Siegler, and he's hailing over as the director of product marketing at Place. And Place is a very interesting technology and can actually, help SaaS leaders to align their operations and their financial data much, much better from all the different platforms and sources. So it's a SaaS subscription management and forecasting platform all in one place, and hence the name Place. So Alex, welcome to the show. Of
Thanks, Lucas. Great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
course. So maybe give us a quick 360 overview. What is Place all about in your own words?
Absolutely. So Place is designed by SaaS founders and B2B SaaS veterans to help other growing venture-backed SaaS companies in their early stages to really navigate their growth from a financial and operational standpoint. It began as a platform that was primarily focused on helping these SaaS companies do their financial forecasting, and it's grown into more of like a complete business solution that ties together things like revenue, operations, sales, customer success, in through billing and accounting, all the way through financial forecasting and planning, and investor reporting and internal reporting that helps these SaaS companies really understand where they're going in the future and make better decisions to lead to better outcomes. But in addition to that, to have the best possible data they could have and tell the best story about their organizations to potential investors or the existing board and investors.
That is very clear, very easy to understand, very important also for that matter. Now, who would you say is an ideal client? You mentioned already sort of like growing companies that are sort of, onboarding probably a lot of tools at the same time. Did you find there needs to be a certain minimum amount of tools that a platform, that a company is using for this to make sense? Or sort of how do you define sort of a great fit?
Yeah, so we've made it really easy for our sales team and our marketing team to understand what our ideal client profile is. It's taken some work to narrow it down. There's a lot of companies out there who play in similar spaces to ours that are trying to be everything to everyone. And we realized that wasn't a great strategy because our product is very broad, while as our market is pretty narrow. That market is B2B SaaS companies who are doing either a license-based model or a subscription or usage-based revenue model. And those companies firstly need to be using Salesforce as their CRM. That's a very conscious decision we made. We've actually built the software that we build on the Salesforce platform. And then secondly, they should be using one of the multiple accounting softwares that we integrate with. So those accounting softwares include QuickBooks Online from Intuit, Xero, NetSuite from Oracle, as well as Sage Intacct, and in the future, many others.
Very cool. Who would you say within the organization, though, would be the champion that is bringing the tool in? Is it actually sort of like a head of finance? Is it from the operational side? Like, who is actually sort of the driving force within the organizations to bring it in?
That's something we struggled with, honestly. And at the very beginning, when I joined about 2 years ago, we were primarily targeting finance. We still do like to talk with the finance team. They tend to be one of the biggest drivers of what we're providing to them, mainly because a lot of what we're providing is automation on the side of billing and revenue recognition and managing subscriptions, as well as the financial forecasting and budgeting. But what we've recognized is that it takes more than just talking to the finance team. We've gotten really good at multi-threading and bringing people in from, revenue team leadership, so customer success leadership, people in this new field that we like to call revenue operations, which can mean a different thing to different people, as well as people in other operational areas of the business who can benefit from just understanding more financially about what they're doing. Because as we know, everything has a financial impact. Lately, our sales team has had a lot of success in contacting leadership in the customer success space, as well as leadership such as chief revenue officers, people who are still, in finance, but also the CEO is tending to get involved a little bit more early than they used to be in the past, because the offering that we've essentially tailored is really geared at helping decision making, which a CEO or founder tends to have a huge impact on in a small growing SaaS company. So when you think about the word champion, I think that can kind of be, maybe if it's not even an old school term, it's a term that doesn't always apply as well as it used to, right? Especially in the organizations that we're working with, because they tend to have between like 25 and 300 employees. And the sweet spot tends to be about 100, 150 employees. And to have someone who's an internal champion, it kind of just means that's the person most excited and also the most willing to have a conversation internally about what we're doing and how it's going to help them and maybe others. So it's a long-winded answer for a short question, but we're still dialing it in. But we found that taking the multi-threaded approach with a few different teams within an organization is something that helps them see the most value out of Place.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love also that you challenge the concept of my question there with the champion. It's good, like, because you're bringing marketers to the next level in that environment of the buyers decision making. So very cool. Now, how do these folks learn about you guys? Like, what's their journey looking like? How do they learn about Place? What are the client acquisition channels for you guys to leverage in order to drive growth?
Yeah, so this is where the world's changed a lot too, is we've gotten, it started probably about a year ago. We had signed on a customer, and that customer sent us a screenshot from a Slack message she had sent in some Slack community that we still to this day don't know what community that was, in like the finance channel. And she was praising Place and sent it to our customer success manager and said, hey, look at this. And she joked about, can I get some kind of referral bonus if they sign up? And of course we do pay out referral bonuses. But the main point is, what we're seeing lately is that there are so many communities out there, especially when the product that we provide appeals so highly to finance people. If we were going to call that like our primary buyer, those folks are asking their friends and people who are trusted in their network about what softwares they're using for things like forecasting or like subscription management and billing, or sharing metrics and analytics from a SaaS perspective. So customers tend to hear about us in these types of what we might call dark channels more and more. What we're also doing, and one of the reasons that I've shifted in from more of like a partnerships and sales engineering role into product marketing, is to bring us to the next level, to make our website a lot more descriptive. Because in the past, we didn't really think from a marketing perspective in terms of user personas. We just thought finance department before we had built things on top of the forecasting module. And so the website, when our sales team goes outbound, a lot of outbound, they're doing a lot of cold calling, a lot of emailing, a lot of LinkedIn, especially LinkedIn, not just like generic messaging, but a lot of engaging in posts in a meaningful way, and really living where our audience lives, especially the kind of customer success and revenue team audience, marketing audience. They're all on LinkedIn. So it's a big combination of heavy outbound, a good amount of like word of mouth through these kind of dark communities. And what we're working to build up is our demand generation engine. One of the things we've done is ensured that we have a solid weekly blog output cadence. Another thing that we've chosen to do, which is relevant to our conversation, is our CEO has started a podcast where he interviews other successful SaaS founders. And I say other and put that word successful next to our CEO and founder, because he came from building up a SaaS company and exiting it with a nice multiple of his and his investors' investment. And so, he's got this, not necessarily following, but, he has this ability to go out to other founders And because of not only his title, but also what they might know about his reputation, they're willing to have a podcast and join him and share their stories, right? And that's, much like I'm sure you understand, by doing this, it's a great way for not only for those people to be able to have a positive interaction with us, and for us to put that out into the world, but for them to potentially become a lead for our software and to become a customer. So it is this multi-tiered approach, but where we're getting a lot more disciplined is in kind of that sales directed LinkedIn outreach, being really relevant, but also the demand gen side of things. And the last thing I'll say about that is we're hiring for a role that will be a content and community manager. So somebody can actually be dedicated to being a part of these communities, right, that might be dark to us right now, or that we don't really monitor, maybe like a Slack community of other Salesforce ISV companies or partners, and listen to what they're saying, and realize, hey, they might be asking about a solution that maybe it's not our solution that can help them, but we know something about that. So being able to be a resource in these like Slack communities and other types of communities where it's more giving than kind of taking and trying to get leads. And we found that by doing that, that's a great way to build a positive reputation, build positive feedback, and get new faces, new companies into the door.
Very cool. No, we definitely did a good deep dive here on what you guys are all about. Are they learning about you? Maybe sort of as a short last question before we slowly starting to getting towards the end of the interview. Would be curious to learn about the website. Like, what role do you see for the website? How do you define the role of the website in their journey?
So that's a great question because it's really relevant right now. We're building a new website imminently. We haven't gotten that work started from a design perspective, but we'll probably be on that. That will put us on basically V3 of our website since 2018, our inception. And the last update we've done, and it's kind of this continuous update, as you probably know, with websites, but the last update we did, we worked with a firm to really help congeal our message and decide who we are and who we want to advertise ourselves to the broader community that we are. Where we want to get with it is being a lot more informative, to providing a path for people who stumble upon our website or guided there by an ad or any other curiosity that they might have, to self-identify what role they're in, right? Or what function they're trying to complete, and be able to follow a path on our website from a navigation menu perspective to get to the right place. The reason we're doing that is because in the past, our website has been a lot of finance focused language, and it's a broad product that, like I've mentioned, it really touches every piece of a company. And when we're reaching out to revenue operations folks, they typically see this finance language and they say, nah, not for me, or I'll introduce you to my finance team, or I'll consider talking to them about you. But we know that there's a solution there for those people. They just don't know it. So a big piece of my job is helping illuminate that there is a solution, or this solution is very helpful for not only the finance team, and it does touch and really positively influence other people in the organization that we might be reaching out to.
Very cool, Alex. I really appreciate those like deep insights into the journey of a marketer with Place. I want to ask you the very last question, right, to understand a little bit about your perspective on your path. Imagine today would be your very first day, joining your very first marketing role, right? Once you had out of formal education. Now, what's the one advice that you would give yourself for your journey as a marketer?
I like that question because one of the things I was thinking about before we had this was, if I were to give anybody any sort of advice. Just from my own experience, it's always come to the table with a beginner's mentality. What that forces you to do is think of things from first principles, even if you don't know what first principles means. It means, hey, I'm coming to this with a fresh perspective. I don't care how things have been done in the past. Here's how I think they might go. And then to use that beginner's mentality to then kind of stack on opinions or thoughts and expertise from other people who may be experts, right? And that's kind of what I've had to do, because traditionally I've been in the sales role and the kind of front lines, or direct sales and partnership management and recruiting new partners. And a named marketing role like I have now is really new to me. And where it's been really beneficial, but also a challenge, is that our product team itself, it's essentially, led by the CEO's vision, as well as customer requests and what we know customers need out of the platform from various conversations and research. And what that means is that there's not a lot of work done up front to say, we're building, starting with, here's the problem, here's how they're fixing it now, here are all the options for them to fix it other than that. Here's their ideal state. And then here's like 7 versions of a product or feature we could build. We don't really do a lot of that. And what that means is that product marketing doesn't get all that filtered down information from a more mature product organization. So I'm in this place where I kind of have nothing to do except for start from first principles, and that beginner's mentality of, okay, what does our product do? And then I have to go and talk to everybody who might know the answer to that, and synthesize that information, and later on kind of put it on the website, or turn it into case studies, or any other content that could be helpful for not only the external people, but also us internally, because I think it's really important to be in a place at a company where the people in the company believe in what we're doing, know exactly what we're doing, and are really behind it and love what we're doing, before we can get customers or prospects to love what we're doing.
Like I said, it's very profound advice, and what I really appreciate is this is really born out of your own experience. So that was very good. I really appreciate you joining us today for the Pathway Presents podcast. I want to give you the very last word. If somebody would be forgetting all that we discussed about Place today, what's the one thing that people should remember?
These days, it's about cautious capital in terms of SaaS investment. Not all the money in the world is there for your taking anymore. It used to be. Make sure that you're paying a lot of attention to your cash-related metrics like burn, customer acquisition costs, and your growth rate, and that'll help you be a lot more informed to make decisions for where you're going in the future.
Thanks a lot for being a guest on Pathway Presents.
Thank you.